All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to this glorious Thursday and all-day fun day here on Core Live. We've got a pretty glorious, I already said that adjective. We've got a pretty amazing lineup for you today. We've got... we just did Tobbs' Top 10, so if you missed that, you can check out the VOD. Maybe your community content was there. Right now, you're going to get the introduction to the survival framework, and we'll go into more detail about that later. 2 p.m., we're going to have a crash course on mesh merging. So there's there is a document in Docs that will show it this new feature that's pretty amazing. It's actually really easy to use. If you've ever made a group before, you can make a merged model. And this will show you how to, and this will basically improve the number of non-networked objects. You can reduce that, make your game easier to play around, better perform it as you're in it. All of that. So 2 p.m., really don't miss it. It's going to be great. And we've got the amazing Tobbs and the genius, also simultaneously genius, Bagel Buns, both there for you to show you how this works and why it's going to be so important for everybody's games. And it is going to change the way we create in Core. And then finally, 4 p.m. So this is all specific time, sorry. So 4 p.m. today also is legal counsel from Manticore going to be giving you some thoughts and answering your questions about legal stuff. I'm not a legal authority, if you couldn't tell. So all of that's happening today, and right now you are in an exciting time because we are going to be talking about the Survival Jam, the Survival Starter Kit, and all of the resources out there are available to you. So right now, if you're just getting here, whatever, I want you to start thinking about what survival means. We've got a game jam going on. We've got another game jam going on actually right now as well. That is the student game jam. So if you are a student, the theme of the student game jam is 2020 the game. And since many of us have spent 2020 focusing really on survival, there's a lot of connection there. All right, Renacel. So those are exactly the ones that I think. Renacel said examples of survival games: Minecraft, Don't Starve, and Raft. And that's definitely what I think. The Survival Starter Kit is more of a zombie shooter. But yeah, so this is definitely, literally, that's what I said: Minecraft, Don't Starve. Yes, and I think the Survival Starter Kit in its base form, right, which you are able to modify, and we're going to talk about that, is a lot closer to the like Left 4 Dead or PUBG, kind of. If you cross those two together, you would get something like what we're talking about. So there's a lot of possibilities, and let's just talk about the Survival Jam itself and what we're talking about. So this was up until this morning. This was the genre redacted jam. Icicles everywhere. Tobbs isn't mod on Core's Twitch. But Tobbs is... that is weird. Well, anyway, Tobbs is Core's Twitch, so... I don't know if we gotta worry about it. But anyway, so the genre redacted game has been announced. If you want to read the announcement, we've got an announcement. I think we have an announcement on Discord. We might be waiting for until later today. But there was a newsletter that came out this morning. So check your email for your exciting, hyping Core newsletter about the survival game. And it's also going to be talking about the other assets, which if you can see behind here, we've got these beautiful destroyed assets that launched with the patch last week. So this is the Survival Game Jam, and we're basically going to create the best survival experience with 3 diverse categories, right? So you're thinking, oh, does this count as survival? This doesn't not. That's the idea. That's awesome. That's exactly what we want you to be thinking, because we're looking for creativity. So there is such amazing content. And if you haven't seen it right now, trending in active games is the Survival Starter Kit. It is totally playable out of the box. So you should, if you just don't even hesitate, get in there and try it out. And then think about how many of these systems you'd love to just like grab and, like a survivor in a dystopian landscape. Pull out the parts, stuff them in your bag, and take them for your own use. That is 100% how we're doing this. You're going to scavenge the Survival Starter Kit. Welcome to Core. So there's so much amazing things we can do. But let me just go back to those categories. So we have 3 categories. We have classic survival, which is probably closest to what Renaissance was talking about, where it's don't starve, right? It's stay alive, and that's what we're trying to do here. And you are a creature with human-like weaknesses that need, or animal-like weaknesses that needs to keep itself alive by keeping your stats up to a certain degree. And there's even a category when you're submitting your game for an update on a game, so you could push a game and then make an update version of it that focuses more on survival and things like that, or take one of your existing games and do a game update. That's all possible for this. And our 3 categories, are classic shooter, classic survival, player versus the environment. There's no conflict more fundamental. This PvE focused strategy include progression over time, crafting mechanics, building systems, natural disasters, threats, both natural, supernatural, and more. Survival shooters. Gunshots echo in an abandoned city. From the underground bunkers filled with claustrophobic corridors and overgrown cities with wide vistas is the theme of choice for many games for a reason. The exploration and atmosphere synergize with the tension, core gameplay in wonderful ways. Polish is the name of the game here. The most complete, well-designed PvP-focused game will take the cake. Changing the game. So many survival games are set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland with progression based on increased material gain. But what if they weren't? We want to see how you can theme the genre differently. How will you add your flair, altered settings, and mechanics to make something original and impressive? So that's what we're going to be going into right now. And then if you guys haven't seen the prizes, we've got heck of cash prizes for all of those categories, plus a player's choice, which is just who gets the most plays in the time period. And everybody who participates is going to get a genre profile pick. So let's actually talk about the main event today, which is the survival starter kit. So it's totally a playable game. You can play it right now. It's super fun. It's got so much going on, and as Cindereth points out, the possibilities are endless. But let's talk about how we're going to make a copy of it. So what I want to do to make my own fork version of it, right, is I'm going to click create new, and instead of going to new empty project or gameplay frameworks, I'm going to go to community projects, this one right here. And these are all of the projects that were marked open for editing. All of the games, you can see there's a bunch of Manticore games and Tower of Terror here in these top that are ones that you can make a copy of any of these. So if you've never seen MIDI Hero, for example, really amazing, strange new use of core that I haven't seen anything else do quite the same way, and it's very cool. But there's lots of excellent places that you could start to basically make a game that is that comes from a starting point. So back to your point, Dream Pirates, you could start from any of these games, and it's obviously not an update because that's not your game, but you are starting from an existing project. So I think that's just part of the culture of core, is that you just start with all of the tools you have, and we give you a lot of tools. We have given each other a lot of tools, and that's amazing. So keep in mind, you can also play this game, but I'm going to type survival. And we will see that, I remember the raft. I remember when the community content assets came out. So, you could fork that one, for example, if you wanted to make a raft style. But we're going to make the survival starter kit. So we're going to say survival game and download it. Okay, so now I have basically this whole project. It is like a fully environment designed beast. So a lot of the things you're seeing are the templates from the new Destructed kit, but a lot of them were created by several different artists putting things together, thinking about, I don't know, I can't remember if this one is a template or not. Let's see here. Okay, so this is going to be my first, okay, not the first thing, whatever, we'll talk about it. So for example, this military barrier, if I want to find out where it is, and this is all in the instructions. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys about the instructions. Okay, so hold up. So mostly this just focuses on understanding what's here and how to download, but we now have a survival contest category. We may be getting some more tutorials for this, kind of depending on a lot of different things. So this is basically, will tell you how to make a fork of it. It'll tell you some of the controls and systems that are built into it and where to find the different pieces. And I have a little bit of talk about the map. So one of the things that's in that document is, say I like this, but I actually want to use it in a completely different game, or I want to put a bunch of them somewhere. What I want to do do is I want to find the template that it's from. But this is a beefy project. So if I go into my templates, right? Let's see here. We could make this as tiny as we want. And we'll see there's just a ton of templates in here, right? It just keeps going. So it's really hard to find the template that I want, even if I know what it's called. And as we know, what it's called in the hierarchy is not necessarily what it's called as a template, because you can change the names of things in the hierarchy. So I want to find this military barrier 05 template. I'm going to right click it and then come down here and select find in catalog. Now, if it's a core template, sorry, I'm motioning at the screen like you can see. If it's a core template, here, that would show up like we can see, well, let's just look at the destructed kit. So if I go to tile sets, urban, and damage, right, then I will get here all of the new damage things. And from here, I can select templates and it'll give me basically these four buildings, that are put together out of the same tiles that you see in the list. There's not a new mesh in here, but it's got VFX and decals and stuff like that. And if you haven't played with these yet, you really should. They're super fun. But like you can see, well, this one is its own, but if I go over to this building, this looks pretty close to the template, but maybe a little more destroyed. But you'll see things in these buildings like this smoke VFX here. They're using a lot of the rubble decal, or is that actual? That's a material. This is rubble decal. So here, so you can see that you've got your normal kind of spotty fabric thing. And then I bet that's a dust decal too, I think, from what I know. So we've got like a couple of really interesting pieces going on here. But let's say that I want to find this, which is not one of these templates, certainly. It might be built out of some other things. And it might be under military. So let's see if we've got military. We just have fences and templates. Most of them don't have an image, so it's a little bit hard to see. But anyway, so I want this thing. I want this beautiful, let me make it bigger, collection of corrugated siding and these sort of basket weave looking containers with the dirt and the tires. I mean, it's just beautiful. Barbed wire in it, the detail. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. So I click this, and right now I have object select, or group mode select on, but if I didn't, right, if I press C to toggle to object, then when I clicked this, I would have clicked this like HESCO barrier thing, right? So if I want to grab the parent of that, I can use the left arrow key and to walk down to the level of the thing that I'm looking for. So in this case, I want this one. I want military barrier 05. And then if I want to find it down here in templates, what I can do is I can right click and find in catalog. And this one, okay, so this one is actually in the core catalog, right? So I could have this selected, I believe. Let's see. Yes, and press X to just start putting them in the space wherever I want. So let's say we want to fill some things up. That is all available. So that is the military. So that's really easy. But some things like, for example, like this telephone pole was made by an artist. So I'm going to select this. And as you saw, we've got electrical pole holds this whole thing. And these are... let's see here. So the whole collection of this whole section right here. So this has basically a couple of different parts. We've got the power lines in between. We've got some ends down here. And you can actually, now that you're looking at it, you can actually see that they have the same shape, but are moved around slightly. And then these kind of intervening power lines. So this is really useful stuff. I can take this whole model. Let's say I want the whole electrical poles normal, and we've got normal, crooked. Let's find a crooked one and look at that. So that's here. One of these is tilted. And the lines are going kind of a different direction. We're missing one of them, so that's cool. And then broken. Let's see, broken here. Right here, they're disconnected. So these are just tiles. I might want to stretch these across a different area, or I don't know, perhaps let's say I want to code the ability to repair power lines. So we've got, and yeah, telephone poles, I said, electrical poles. So I want to repair power lines. So I want someone to take power lines like the broken one, And I want to be able to swap it to this one. What I would do is I would have both of these templates. I would have an electrical poles normal optimized and an electrical poles broken optimized. And when someone was able to do that interaction with whatever I made them do first, then we could just delete one template and spawn the other one in the same place, right? So if I wanted to steal them, right, and I want normal right here, let's see, which normal is this? All right, this is this normal. I can right click here and find, where is it? Finding catalog. And when I do that, it opened project content. Let's see here. Let's finding catalog again. Project content. We see we've got electrical poles normal optimized. So one of the things I can do is I can export this. I could, let's say I wanted to just publish this. If I were going to publish it, right, I'd publish it as a pack. So I would grab electrical poles, normal optimized, crooked optimized, and broken optimized, right? I think these are the 3 that we can use, and these other ones are 2L, so these ones are 2 lines. We got some different ones, but maybe I only need these 3, right? Then I would say, okay, we're going to publish this to community content. Yeah, we can press save, that's fine. And that makes a template pack, and a lot of people don't know that you can make a template pack. You just select 3 using Control or Shift to multi-select, and Control to remove one. And I could say power lines tile set, right, like that. Take a screenshot. There's a camera. It's really easy. Let's F11 to get this right. And yeah, if I were doing this screenshot, definitely do. What I want is one of the broken ones in front of a finished one. There we go. Something like this, right? So I've got my broken one here and my finished one here. And bam, and you see it hides the UI for me. So now I've got that, and then I could say power lines, 3 different templates of different states. And I'm just going to publish this privately because you guys can dig this out yourself. What we're going to do is we're going to scavenge the survival game. So that's super awesome. So we've got this, and now I can just review and publish, and then I could download that into any of my games because it's private. So that's one of the ways we could export it. The other thing we can do is you can actually press export here, and you'll get, okay, all 3 I exported all 3 at once. Oh, that's so cool. So I could actually copy these, and I'm pretty sure, let's say, I think I can actually literally paste them into a project, but I've never tried this. But what I could also do is I could just take these files and put them, all of my other projects are right here. So I could find their, not temp, but what I would do is find their data and template section and throw that template into it. And that'd be another way to move it into another game. And the final one, which we've seen with some of the Halloween stuff, is you can right click and export as PNG. I would put all 3 in there. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, am I still F11'd? Yeah, okay. So let's say we go back and we're doing this again. We do that. Now I have this PNG, and I know I can drag that. That will essentially let me open, let's just go ahead, we'll do it. So we'll say file, back to main menu. And we'll create a new empty project, right? So let's say I want electrical repair sim, right? Where your whole thing is that you're putting the grid back together. And then I take, let me just make sure you guys can see. So I've got this folder that was opened by core when I exported the PNG. And I am going to take this PNG, and would you like to add it? And I'll say okay. And it only got the broken one, so I would have to need a separate one for each one. But we can see that now I have this beautiful, ridiculously gorgeously modeled power line, which I could use in any game. So that's super, super fun. PNGs have just like secret stuff stored in them. And so we figured out how to secretly store an entire core PBT, because one of the amazing magic tricks of core is that our files are actually insanely, stupidly small, just ridiculously small. And that's what makes us so fun for, like, you can just like make portals between worlds and stuff like that, because you don't have to download just like a metric ton of data in order to move people from one game to another, which you would if you basically didn't have this beautiful beautiful ecosystem that we have. So that's, you know, a couple of techniques for exporting a template. If you want to just really like run through here for art assets, you could spend all day in this game, I'm going to be honest with you, and find so many different things. Yeah, I'll save this. Why not? But let's go back to survival game. And yeah, it's so beautiful, but like I can't even, where are the trailers? I can't, I mean, you know, a lot of this stuff is in the new Destructed kit, but there's so much. So the other thing that I want to talk about, so I am just going up, and we're going to talk about why in a second, so that basically we can see, am I right side up or upside down? We'll find out in a second. Yeah. Okay. So we can see basically how the map works. And this is the same map that was in, I believe the first thing it was in was Core Royale. But you'll see it now. Let me go back this way to try to center this. This is like the worst way to do this, but here we are. Why is it trying to go back and it seems to keep making it worse? Anyway, so what you can do is you can see that the map is just a really high up camera with literal world text. I'll zoom back in so you can see. And how this is done is actually really gorgeous. So what this is these are planes, one-sided planes, so you can only see them from the direction that has a material. So if I'm looking up, I can't see these. And they use a material composite. So there's this material called composite material that basically lets you mix two together. And so this mixes kind of two kinds of rubble together to create this background, and then adds these kind of like nice, I think that's definitely a decal and stuff to give it this look. So it's really very cool, you know, how that turns out. And this frames the whole map. Now you can kind of see it doesn't show up very well here, but there's also world text. So if I want to basically change my map, change things around entirely, what I would do is, one of the things I'd have to change is this world text that is literally floating in the sky, as are these grid lines. These are literal grid lines floating in the sky, but can't remember if they are hidden. Yeah. So what they are is planes as well. So when I look up, I don't see it. Now the world text I do, and I think it just gets hidden. But this grid line is just another plane. So you can basically make that map look, I mean, isn't that crazy? The core is so 3D. Like even our map makes so much sense just to build into the literal space. And if you've ever used like the UI map by Standard Combo, you end up also sort of building your map in the space, and then it gets computed into a UI. So the player tags are what we see from the character when we, I think there's something else that like finds them and applies them in there, but let's look at the map section. So map, is all here under, so UI, there's map, and map mode is the thing that does it. It does, so there's a camera for it, but the camera is not as high as like you need to go to be able to see. And I don't know if it moves further up or what's going on, but oh my God, look at this. This is so gorgeous. Using those girders, look at that. This is another model I'd steal. I would steal everything in here. It's so pretty. And one of the cool things is that when this was in, when this was in production, this value was higher than the terrain, the number of objects, because you can imagine, right? Each of these things is one object, but they've used merged models in this final version of it so that this radio antenna is basically one model. That's it. This whole thing. Because, and that's it. It's one thing. It gets calculated when you load, so your load time is a little bit higher than it would be without these, but your performance is a lot better. Or actually I have not actually seen if the load time is higher, but theoretically I think it could be. So that's an interesting thing. So it's using these merge models, which are super easy to do. Okay. Let's F11 that. When I press, so down in the bottom, it might be hard to see on my screen because it's a little bit shrunk down, but we've got I for inventory. Right here, it's got all of these beautiful items. X for the crafting menu that'll show you all of the things that you can do with the items. And there is like an API for the crafting menu, so you can add more crafting recipes. I'm not super confident about it, but we will try it this stream to see if we can do it. There's a lot I'm learning about the interaction between the crafting menu and the items menu, which are obviously, you can't have one without the other. Looting is available if loot is around. And then you can press hold M and you get this map, which obviously looks a lot better when I was zooming up, but now you know what was there. And like the text is a lot easier to read. So obviously there's some post-processing to make it all make sense. But we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. The town, the neighborhood, the two neighborhoods, an acid lake, forest, and a military base. So let's go to, we'll get out of here. And I'm going to try to find, so these are the locations in the map, is it? Yeah. Oh. Sorry, having a hard time. Okay, so this time I'm going to go to level design. Right? And this is basically the space. You can delete all of this and, you know, find things and build it all up yourself. But let's see here. Let's look at neighborhoods. So we've got neighborhood here. And I'm very far away of it, so I don't know if the two neighborhoods are in the same group or not. Let's see here. Let's look. So we'll go to that. And this is one of our neighborhoods. So let's say I wanted to name this neighborhood, right? And I can see that this is called neighborhood here. Can I click this? Maybe not. But let's see here. If I add UI editing, can I click it? Haha, nope. Nope, I clicked the message box UI. Okay, never mind. But let's see here. I'm not sure actually which neighborhood I'm in relative to anything else, but I think if that one is town, right? So this is the first neighborhood. So maybe I want to rename this first neighborhood. So we'll go into the map. We'll look at neighborhood. Let's assume it's this first one here, right? And I could take this world text and I could be like, this is Holmesville. All right, so we'll add that there. And then when I press play, and the terrain saying that it's near its complexity is a bug that we know about, and it's a work in progress, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. So now if let's F11 so you guys can see it, and I hold down M. Now I have Holmesville because I can't spell if I'm talking. And I changed the name of the neighborhood, right? So we could change Acid Lake to perfectly normal, not threatening at all lake, right? You can do that. So that's a part of like your world building and stuff that you can do with this. There's a lot of possibilities there. And so you just need to kind of know that the map is in the UI. Now for the rest of the systems are a little bit hard for me and I don't want to lead you guys astray. So please understand that I am learning this. This thing dropped like 30 minutes ago or something like that and has already got all of these plays, so many plays. But for each one of them, you've got documentation. And the crafting system, if you ever worked in like you did like modding Minecraft or modding Terraria, you'll find that it's very similar to it. You've basically got a system for registering a new craft and you build it. Well, okay, so just kidding. It's not an API. You can basically build it into the how's it register the recipes? Is you can basically build it into the space. So if I go to, we'll keep this up, but basically we're looking for the recipes registry. So I'm going to go here for each of these that are in documentation. I'm going to go to gameplay systems and I'll see basically the system, same thing. I'll go to crafting systems and I get recipes registry. And basically inside of these, inside of consumables, right, is the recipe, and the recipe is built as a folder. So if you remember the loot drop factory from the dungeon framework, where you could actually add more drops if you wanted to like the common or uncommon categories, I mean, this also has a loot drop system, right? So this is a very similar thing. It's very like in the space, non-coding way to talk to this. So if I look at bandage here, basically I select bandage and I see it has two things, right? Reward, which is basically the item. And when it's capital I item, we're talking about something that's part of the item system, right? And then the time it takes to craft it. And then when I open up this group, I find two things inside of it, which are a group. And again, there's nothing in it. It's actually just sort of like a placeholder for these properties. So then we've got the requirement, that's an ingredient, right? And it's another item. Basically two of the items in it, you can select basically, you have two custom properties, a item and how many things that are involved. Now to create more items, you're gonna have to use the item system and I'm not totally confident with that, but let's get into this bandage. bandage, and let's say that you need 5 duct tapes for it. Let's see if this works. So I'm gonna press equals to start, and that should save my change. And then when I open the crafting recipes, I will see that the bandage here needs 4 cloths and now 5 duct tapes because I changed it. So I can change the number of things, and obviously we could duplicate things. We've got lots of different options for these ingredients, and pretty much to create an ingredient, it needs to be an item, and the item is going to need like an object for it to be, an icon thing for it to be, and I think the type, anyway, we can look at the item API next. So if I go to the item systems, right? Basically what it needs is, I'll go down here. Here we go. Okay, so basically here's what we need for an item. We need a name, which string, you know, is like in quotes, just literally anything you could say as a name. We need a UI icon, and as you guys know, we have like a ton of UI icons now. So there's a lot of possibilities there, especially if you want to make things out of eyeballs. Good God, so much eyeballs. So we've got you're gonna say the type of item, the rarity, which I think needs to be a specific one of like 3 strings. But you can basically, what I would do is I would take an existing one and copy it to make it, and that way you can figure things out. And so these are all going to be custom properties. So again, you don't really need to code. You can literally, like, for this consumption effect, we need a specific script. It's not just like you need to make a script. It's like there's a consumption effect script to make it consumable, and things you can specify about that. So max stackable size, especially like for me as like a Minecraft person, like, yeah, it's 64, unless it's something very, very special. No big deal. All right, let's look back at these instructions again, because there are step-by-steps in here. I have a thing I want to make, and we're just going to make it a weapon so that we can follow this tutorial. So it says, step 1, we're going to go into the gameplay systems folder, open item systems folder, and then open item registry folder. And I really just would like to comment that that is very much the way I would have explained that in my documentation. So we'll do it that way. Okay. So we can side by side these. I'm going to have to make the left one a little bit. Okay. So just bigify this. We've got item registry, and then we're going to go to the registered items folder. Choose one of the weapons in the weapons folder. So I'm going to grab a ranged weapon, and that's going to be here. And we're going to duplicate a weapon group. So I guess we want rifle. We'll duplicate that. And what on earth? I just duplicated it, called it corner apartments wallpaper. Okay, so we are going to duplicate you. Corner store apartment. What is going on? Okay, it's clearly the rifle. It's got all of the things. So this is nuts. I do not know what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to rename this. It also thinks it's rifle here. So that is the weirdest bug I've seen in a while. So I'm going to click it here and change it to rope, we're going to say. And then I don't know why it's still says rifle here. This is weird, guys. I do not know what's going on. But still says rifle. Okay, I'm just not going to mess with it. So we have... I have no idea if this is going to... No, okay, now it's fixed. All right, that was the weirdest bug of the day. All right, so we're going to duplicate the weapon group. Change the name of the duplicated group. Just did that. Customizing the item is just the same way you make a weapon. So if you haven't seen that, let me grab the docs, how to make a new weapons reference. So that's going to be here. So once again, we have a survival contest category that just links to this, but it's really easy to find. Then here in editor manual, we have weapons, and this has a bunch of different ways you can customize weapons. It shows you how to make templates that make like the bullet sound and the muzzle flash are all in the same template, and stuff like that you might need to know. So this is the weapons tutorial. That's all there. So if you want to make a weapon, so that's what we're going to try to do now. And we'll just do it in here. We're going to go to a nice sunny spot so we can see what we're doing. And then once we finish making the weapon, we'll go back to these instructions. Okay, so here I am in a space of the world, and I want to make a rope. So what am I going to do? I'm going to grab a weapon. that works a little bit like what I want. And it doesn't do damage, so I'm actually probably just gonna grab something basic. All right, whatever, basic pistol, doesn't matter. And what I want it to do is, we're gonna change out its geometry first. So this is existing in my world. If I close up everything, then you can see everything is in its neat little folder except my random basic pistol that I'm working on. And we're gonna take that and we're going to first change its geometry. So let's see that pickup trigger on it. And then client art is where the geometry is, and that's in here. And I'm just gonna take all of this and delete it. De-instance and delete. Okay, awesome. Now let's grab a couple rings. The 3D kind, please. Good Lord, we've just got so many reticles. 3D objects, basic shapes. I want ring, not plain ring, good God. Yeah, no, not beveled, I want the round one. Just ring 01, I believe. Okay, so we'll take that, pull that up, rotate it, and shrink it, right? And let's see here. Okay, this is probably really ambitious because I had this dream of like a roll of rope that's sitting on your hip that you're holding in your hand. I don't know, like a lasso or something. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, we're gonna apply the rope material to it. And definitely not as a smart material. Let's see here. See if that looks about right for rope. It actually doesn't. Weird. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to increase the tiling there. Yeah, to get it to what I think a rope should be. Maybe I wanted to lengthen it, but I like it like that. So we're going to go with that. Maybe probably actually want to rotate it 90 degrees, but we're not there. Okay. So I've got that. I'm going to duplicate this a couple times, and one of them, let's see, we'll turn off snapping so that we can pull them apart slightly. And the third one we can rotate out slightly so it crosses the other two. Bam! Rope! We did it. So talented. Okay, so this is not going to be that fancy, but I'm going to take these three. I'm going to put it over here in the client geometry. I don't even have to turn collision off because it's in a client context now, so that's fun. Okay, so let's just pretend this is my weapon. Now, if I want to change, let's see, we'll change this to rope. And I have this whole idea that it's going to throw a rope, and we have a lot of possibilities, but I don't really have time. We've got about 10 minutes left in the stream. So reticle type, that's fine. Range, we probably want to be a lot shorter. We'll say 1,000. And damage, I want very little damage. I think this is going to be a utility thing where eventually I'll basically make it a CC effect. Let's assume it just does projectile damage. I want to change, is the animation stance? I guess that's going to be here in shoot. We'll change the animation for shooting to be something like, I don't know, unsheath might be close to what I want. Kind of want like something like lunge forward or something. Magic bolt might be what I want. Two-hand stab. I don't want two-hand. Let's see here. Oh, maybe Rochambeau scissors. That's funny, right? Okay. But let's do unarmed throw. Let's assume that's closer to what we want, right? And that's what we would find if I'd grabbed like grenade or something. That's what I would have gotten. So we can do that, and then, but is the animation stance that when you're holding it, that should be in here. So we're gonna make this a template. And this is how we make a weapon. This is going to be something you hold funny that is otherwise exactly like a gun because I was super lazy. But let's go back to our instructions on how we're going to make a new weapon. Okay, so customizing is things, change all the custom properties except for the item property. Oh, okay, this is of our items. So let's go back. Here, I'll just bigify this because it's a little crowded. So here in gameplay systems, item registry, registered items, ranged weapons, we have our rope and what it needs. Change everything except the item icon. Isn't that what I changed? Oh God, I don't know. So somewhere down in here, I'm gonna have a rope now. Did I make a template from it? I don't actually remember. Rope. Okay, so we'll stick this in here. Rarity is common. You should probably look those up before you change them. Item type is, I don't know, rope. Name is rope. And icon, well, that's easy, is going to be a rope, which I know exists. So, so many options. Let's go with this one. Fantasy rope 02. So we did that, and then how are we looking? That didn't work. Okay, so I looked up the other one. Is that open? Oops, sorry for the crash. I tried to open too many things at once. Anyway, right, that's the electrical poles. So we're at the end of time for today, and that's basically the idea of you've got the item system, the crafting system. You're gonna have to use them both. They both have really detailed readmes, so you can check those out and improve from them. And let's see here. So we'll load that from the autosave. And anyway, we should be able to change the icon. I think I opened the icon menu and forgot. So that is basically where we are. So once again, you can go to Docs, and Docs has a survival core editor manual survival contest section that right now has this kit. As we come out with more tutorials, they'll be here too. It just depends on what interests people about this, and it'll show you how to make your own copy and things like that, and how just that there's a readme section in the descriptions and how to change the map and things like that. So yeah, check this out. Make your own copy, play the game, learn from it, grow from it, make it your own, and check out the survival contests. I guess I do need to prove that this works. So item registry, weapon. We didn't even really test it. Registered items, ranged weapon. And yeah, it's still called that. So we'll rename it here to rope. Hopefully it stays that way. We need to, let's see, we changed, no, it didn't change the asset reference. So we'll look up rope here, which is still here, and we'll throw that in there. And we're going to change the name to rope, and we'll change the icon. It's so weird that it's selecting core content when I select an icon. That's not actually, I guess I just rope again. Select this. Okay, this is what I wanted. Now I pick rope and I get this option, and now I change the icon. So that should all be there. Yeah, the problem that I'm not sure about is if I just make a recipe for it, we don't actually, I don't know how we'll test it. But I don't know. Let's see if we've got any errors. That's a fun way to start. Yeah, we'll overwrite and then we'll press play. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but you've got a sprint with shift and some other fun things. With a lot of motion blur for how slow I'm going. This is a weapon, so we'll grab that. Now I have a weapon. But I don't know. I mean, now I can look at my inventory. And see that I have a stop sign, which is of course symbolized by an X, because that's how we're going to use it. And what can I do with this? Oh, that's just the barrier. Okay. So anyway, you guys should play this game. Stop sign is a weapon. It's actually made on stream. So Standard Combo did a stream where we were talking about how to make new weapons, and he took the Carlos blade. Yeah, it's fast and persistent. It is very cool that NPCs. Anyway, yeah, you guys are just gonna watch me whack a zombie with the stop sign. Welcome. And let's see, what did we get? We got duct tape, which is awesome because we need that for bandages. Oh, I need to press L to actually loot it. Is that how this works? L? It's just still there. How do I get it? F. I click it. Click. Now you guys know. Whack a zombie. Yeah, there is an infinite possibilities of things you could do with this framework. So yeah, I don't know how I basically need it to drop unless I actually make my own loot drop, which I didn't do. You've got 2 questions. Will the survival framework has a first person? Yeah, you can change it. I'll do that right now. So I've got, we'll close everything so we can see what we've got. And this rope I don't need anymore because I just needed it to make a template. So I'm going to go to game settings, and here you've got third person camera with respawn set, third person camera. And this is, I think, just the template. So God willing, I can actually just go into game. Let's hope. Grab camera, and you see I've got a first person camera. So I'm going to drag that in here. I'm going to delete third person camera, and we're going to press play and see what happens. You excited? Yeah. Switching that is one of the easiest things I know how to do in Core. So yeah, it's for first person now. It's a little, it's a little intense feeling. I might change like the position of the camera, like the distance from the player or something like that. But we'll run over here. We've actually already got the stop sign. How do I equip it? I guess that's going to be inventory. All right. Well, I don't want to drop it. So do I have it right now? I can't see it. All right. That I'm not sure about. So there might be some things to play with it, but you're not going to be able to sleep. Your mind is blown with the possibilities. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, come check it out. And, yeah, thank you guys very much for joining me. Tune in for the rest of the day. A lot of cool learning that will help you level up your game dev game. So stay tuned. I will see you on the Discord for any questions. And also keep in mind, for complex questions, please use the scripting section of the forums. Noob Dab Gamer, I'm going to get you an answer on there. I'm just talking to people who are smarter than me. Back at you, stay punny. And thank you again, everyone, for joining me. I will see you all in the future.